Two experts in ICF.
Yeah.
Decades of experience. One podcast.
Yeah.
Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, cause really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build with ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss. And she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build with ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt, yeah.
It seems like it's been like a whirlwind of stuff since we got back from like Builder Show. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and we've been listening to these other podcasts, and I feel like I should be coming on here rather than just starting to talk. I should say something about like welcome and my name is or something.
Just because we've been gone so long, nobody remembers us?
No, just, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of that. And I haven't been gone that long, but I don't know. Like we just kind of have an informal way that we come in here, which I do like. But I was listening to some other business podcasts and they always kind of welcome people. So I don't know. I'm rethinking how we come into this.
Oh, well, I think Jody does it for us at the intro.
He does.
He says, welcome to the Build ICF podcast.
I know.
This cool voice.
I know. It's very good.
Hey, we have had a lot of really cool stuff going on. So this is going to be a kind of a all over the place podcast. So we're going to be touching on a lot of different stuff ICF. I just am mostly just experiences we've had involving ICF over the last month that we're kind of going to tie together here and hopefully make a good episode for you guys out of this, because I think there was good information to be shared, I think, with a lot of people about some of the stuff that we picked up on ICF stuff that we seen. So we went right after the last one posted, we were down at the Builder Show in Vegas.
Yeah, I posted right after.
So yeah, we had been headed down to we'd been to World of Concrete, did a recap on that. We're doing kind of a recap on the Builder Show.
A little bit of a recap on that and kind of what we've been doing the last couple of weeks since the Builder Show, because it's just been, it's been crazy. It's been good. And it's been a lot of stuff with ICF and, the big thing, and I'll throw it out here right off the bat that everybody's been talking about even since before going to Builder Show, but it got talked about a lot at the leadership meetings with the NAHB is the tariffs. Yeah.
And obviously being a product that is a mostly Canadian product. I mean, primarily the industry.
There's plants here in the U.S., but yes, they're primarily Canadian.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some groups out there that are not as concerned about this as some of the other groups. So, yeah, big talk. Everything in building is a big talk about,
I know. Huge.
The tariffs and the different stuff. And so, yeah, very interesting. This will be coming out, a couple weeks before we do or don't know if we're going to have tariffs or not. So if you're listening to this and you have an order out with any manufacturer that is coming out of Canada, you should probably go ahead and get that order placed just to be sure. So we're placing orders for everything we have, Canadian right now, just to make sure we get stuff across the border. But
stock in the warehouse, doing whatever we can to, get ahead of it. And then we do this and then it won't be an issue.
So. Right. And there's always that, because you never know if it's actually going to go through. And anyway, it's a gambling game right now. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely was the talk of Builder Show a lot. We're getting a lot of people, asking us what we think. Just because we have a podcast doesn't mean we know anything. We believe it or not, we do not talk to Donald Trump directly. He doesn't call me yet. Maybe sometime. I'm sure if it was ICF related, I'm sure he's a podcast listener.
Probably.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. We get just a lot of people asking us different questions about, just because of we're so involved in it. And we are very involved on the political side with the building industry and with the National Association of Home Builders. So that was pretty cool. I'd say this to my ICF listeners out there, kind of a cool thing. We have a new chairman of the board, our new president of the National Association. Buddy Hughes is builder, and he's actually done ICF building.
Yep.
So he's got a little ICF experience. So he's at the top now. So that gives us kind of a cool conversation piece, maybe and maybe an in. I'm working on that from a couple different angles I had a great conversation with Jim Tobin, the CEO of the NAHB, while we were there about, trying to get more conversation about it, because we had a lot of conversation while we were there.
Yeah, it's coming up with regards to like insurance, because that's a huge thing. If we can't insure homes, if they can't get insurance, it makes it really difficult for people to build them because all of their lenders require that they have insurance. And then resiliency, energy efficiency, those are always big topics, but they're becoming more and more so right now.
Well, to the point that we were asked to come in and speak at the Builders Show, and we went in, and through the Building Systems Council, we were able to do a tabletop meeting with everybody.
Coffee and conversation
regarding ICF.
Yep.
And so there, we're definitely getting a seat at the table, I guess you can say, in the National Association of Home Builders, which has been primarily a stick-built association. They're very heavily into the wood side of things, or firewood, as I like to call it. So we definitely are seeing that activity. We're getting more conversation from people coming to us wanting to spread the word a little bit more, because the buzzword that you hear is resilient. Yep. Obviously, you hear that a lot. But yeah, I had a good time. Met some really cool people, some listeners.
It was it was very interesting, because we walked in the room and there was they had a screen up on the board that said who was at what table, and were there 6 of us or 7?
Yeah, I can't
remember. 6 or 7 of us at different tables. Robert Klob was there, so he was representing as well. And I can't think of everybody was there. I should have taken a picture of that slide thing to talk about it, because we were talking about everything like construction with concrete. So there was, tilt-ups, and there was all sorts of stuff that they were talking about, not just ICF, but I think there was 4 of us that were ICF. So super cool. We had 45 minutes, and people could move amongst the tables, and just had some really good conversations. We did have listeners that sought us out and came in and talked about plans and talked about, building, and just lots of Q&A.
Yeah. And more, builders at the show, or more listeners at the Builders Show, just like we did at World Concrete. So that was really cool. Yeah. So all you guys that are listening, that came up and said hi to us and got to talk with us, thanks. That was awesome.
Because you were in a couple of booths during Builder Show too.
Yeah. I went and worked a few booths, and that was good. And like I said, get in there and get to see everybody and chat with people about stuff, and hopefully picked up some new listeners out there. So if you're new to the podcast since the Builder Show, or you got our cards or met us there at the Builder Show, thanks for listening. Yeah, we had a great week. It was just a good week for us. That's a lot of meetings for us on the NHBC.
A lot of meetings that start very early.
and just with people that we met up with down there, as far as other ICF people and everything. So it's a good show. It turned out really well.
And then we got home from Builder Show, and it was just like, okay, we have a couple days at home, and then we are headed up to Pincher Creek, Canada. We were headed up there for a dealer conference with Superform, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit now, because that was super cool.
Cool. Well, in between there too, I do want to mention and give you some props for getting invited up to North Idaho College, and you got to speak at Women Work, which was super cool, just to go and listen. It was all catered to women at NIC and women jobs, and it's mostly the panel you sat on was women that are in jobs that are mostly man-dominated jobs. So we had, you and we had the firefighter gal that was a firefighter, and a welding instructor.
We had a graphic designer, and then we had a female welder, and it's a event that is focused towards girls that are graduating from high school, or young women that have graduated and just don't really know where they're going, what they want to do. They have booths and different things, nursing. The police department was there, and they had one of the canine units was there. They had, the emergency, like you said, the paramedics and the...
Which, by the way, I went and talked to all the female police officers. Mm-hmm. They would not let me shoot their gun.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah. I was like, I walk up, I'm like, this is the only booth with guns in it. Is this like, do we get to shoot guns here? And they were like...
They would have handcuffed you.
Yeah. I think they were. I saw one reach for a taser.
Yeah.
I think they probably let me shoot myself with that.
But that was a good event, and I forgot about that because we're go all the time, and if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. And when we're recording the podcast, I don't have my phone or my calendar or anything like that in front of me, so I forgot about doing that. But it was super cool. We committed to being there next year. I'm taking the drafting company up there, and so I'm going to take Whitney because there's a lot of young women that they just don't even think that they can get into it and get into drafting or get into construction or, a lot. They don't really think about what the opportunities are until you put on an event like that. So super cool to be invited to speak at that and be on the panel. And yeah, that was fun.
No, that was good. I was proud of you. I'm always amazed, like when you get up and, get in front of a group and it's just amazing to me that it's so impactful. I mean, you literally had girls coming up to you after that were in tears, hugging you and talking about what a great, how cool, what a great story and stuff. And I think it was just everybody on the panel was extremely impressive, and it was just kind of fun to be there and be a part of. But yeah, so that was another trip that we had in the middle here. But moving to we wanted to kind of go over the Superform Dealer Conference. They have their North American Dealer Conference, I guess you call it, since there's the U.S. and Canada there, and just really well done event. And we don't have anyone on here from Superform with us.
No,
we didn't get permission from them. So hey guys, sorry,
we're just going to talk about.
We're going to talk about your dealer conference. We won't release any extremely sensitive information or anything. But
no, but you were up there as a panelist, so you were answering questions for Superform dealers across the country. We had builders, dealers. You kind of had the whole mix there. And then there was also other vendors there, which I was there as a vendor for the drafting company. And Chad was there with Plum Wall. And I'm trying to think, there was a pool vendor. And then what was the fasteners?
Clearco, who's going to be coming on. We actually have them lined up, and Michael from the actual company, the Berman. And so, but yeah, they were there. Clearco was there. Manny was there from the pool.
Yeah.
Pool Kit Group is another one you guys should check out. Like, I'm going to pump all these guys up a little bit because they did such a great job. And what was great about it is it was it's bigger than just the brand, of what the Superform. They did a great job with it, but it was so amazing to just have that many ICF people in a room that were really focused on ICF. Like, had a lot of really great conversation. I was working the Hulk booth too.
Yep, you were doing
so
that.
I spent most of my off time in the Hulk booth if I wasn't, talking with people there. And that was just like great conversations. I mean, a lot of people, we were kind of there representing the podcast as well. And so a lot of people coming up that were listeners and stuff. And
I did sell a few t-shirts.
We sold some
swag. I made my first Canadian income as well while I was there.
Don't say that. You're going to get audited.
Oh, I spent it while I was there too.
We can edit that out, I guess. Yeah, we did get rid of it before we left at a Dairy Queen on the border before we left. But yeah, it was, which by the way, 50 years old. It was my first time. I've been to Canada 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
Never in a car.
Never driven across the border.
Always flown.
Yeah.
So I had no clue. We decided to drive it because we were picking up, taking some samples with us and different things. And so I was like, we drove. I just didn't know what to. I didn't know how to get across the border. I was like, I guess I've never done this. It was
super simple.
Easy.
It was fine.
Yeah, it takes longer to go through Starbucks, so it was not that hard. Anyway, just an interesting little side piece there that I thought of when I was like, never crossed the border. I wonder how this is going to go. And easy, but like just a shout out to all those guys. Like, I mean, that took their time to be there with all these dealers and distributors and installers, and a great group of people. And so interesting when you get people from such a large area, geographically, especially when they're all working kind of with the same product, and they all have similar, questions or, things. It was just really, really cool to see how interactive everybody was and wanting to learn from other people.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway from the whole event was the fact that people came there to learn from other people, other installers and people that were, distributors and how they're selling their product. And so, I mean, I know we have a wide array of listeners. We get people that are DIYers, and this stuff may not be as interesting to you right now, but I know we have a lot of distributor listeners and installer listeners and stuff like that, and it was great. MST.
Oh yeah, they had the booth there too.
They had their booth and all their stuff up. They were there. And unfortunately, Borna got sick, I think, and was unable to make it. But MST bar is another one that is just hot. Everyone's talking about it. Like it's the fiberglass rebar thing is real. It's happening. It's just amazing. I mean, we've seen the quotes going out the door a ton.
Well, because it's the only structural fiberglass rebar.
Right, but I think it's just people are figuring out 3 times stronger, 4 times lighter. Like there's a lot of benefits to that. So we've had MST on here. If you want to get more in depth with that, you can go back and listen to our MST episode. But it was just all in all, just trying to like let people know they're out there. Listen, like MST is really happening. We had a lot of conversations with different people because there are parts of the country where they're not having as much luck, I guess, with inspectors or whatever.
Well, that's what I think was super cool because I had not been to this dealer conference prior. You went last year when they did it. I think it was their first time doing it.
Yeah.
And so this year getting to go and be there, and it was so interesting, and I think extremely beneficial for those people that were in attendance because they did kind of a Q&A panel with you and Harvey, who's their technical guy, and Jason, who you guys have all been in ICF for a long time. I don't know how many years if you combine all 3 of you guys sitting up there, but it's a long time. But the cool thing was to like sit and watch the questions that came up and how everybody in the room, it wasn't just you guys as panelists answering questions. It kind of went around to everybody's experience, and everybody got to share ideas and tips and tricks and just like different things and stuff that other people don't always think of. So I think that was like super beneficial to be able to sit and do that. And then that's where we heard about this with, fiberglass rebar, not inspectors, I think, not understanding it, or engineers in certain places not.
Right. And so we did so touching on that to give a little information. So my answer on that, and this is literally was stuff I did today, was literally reaching out to different inspectors. So we're working in a lot of different areas, several different states and different things where we sell MST bar to. And people, will say, hey, I'm having trouble with this guy. Get on the phone with them. And I'm blown away at how many times I call and I just able to talk to the inspector. And I'm like, hey, we're doing this. And it's structural rebar, can go vertical. What? Oh, so it's not just like I'm not going to throw other names up. Maybe some of the bar they've seen out there that's not structural, right? And you have to tell them, say, no, this is structural fiberglass rebar. This is different than non-structural.
Can I get your email? I'll send you over the
what do you
sheet.
Need? That's exactly what I said. What do you need? And they're like, hey, here's my email. Email me over the spec sheet on it. As soon as you do that, oh, cool. Yeah, we're good. I didn't realize it had all these approvals and different things. So I would say to anybody that is questioning a little bit of the MST, the being able to use it and stuff, just get ahead of it. Don't try to drop it on a job site and wait for an inspector to walk up and be surprised and go, no. Like, get ahead of it. So that was kind of my word to everybody there, was like, if you want to use something like this, get ahead of the inspectors and everybody. Talk to the engineers early, talk to your, whoever you need to talk to get this, smoothed over before you start, and reach out.
Education is key.
Reach out to MST. They've got all the information that your inspector or your engineer needs to get this approved. So that was a big part of it. But yeah, we'll plug like Pool Kit Group, Manny with Pool Kit Group.
Yep.
You look him up. He's doing ICF pools, selling pool kits. They do the whole package and everything from the coatings to the pumps to everything. So really great to run into him. I'd actually, had met, that was the first time meeting him in person. We talked on the phone a lot. I know I've been on enough Zoom calls with him and stuff, but we were, that was fun to get to talk to him. And then, like I said, the guys, who'd all we have there? I'm
like thinking in my head, I should have taken pictures of them. So you had, Chad had the plumb wall kits set up. And then there was another one that I had not seen prior. It was green.
Oh, that's Hilltop.
Okay.
So they sell Hilltop too. So they sell plumb on Hilltop. But
okay. So I hadn't seen that brand. So I had to go over there and take a look at that. So they had those set up. Then they had, I think the first booth was Manny. Mm-hmm. Probably would have been MST, but I think it was Manny. And then they had like a social media.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Company
Josh.
there. Mm-hmm. And then you had the hangers and stuff, the accessories. Gosh, I can't think of everybody. The cool thing, that I really liked, because they're educating their dealers about like how everything works. So they had examples of so many things.
Yeah.
Which I loved so much, because it's like being able to see it there. I didn't go around and talk to the dealers and see like who's an installer, who's just a dealer, how long have they been in it. But like the couple people that I talked to, some of them were newer sales guys for the companies that they worked for. That's why they were there. They were there to learn about the product, to see how it's used, to really educate themselves so they could speak about it properly.
Yeah, it was a lot of like hands-on real world type stuff. I think it was beneficial. I mean, to, give you a shout out as a vendor there. You had all your plans and stuff set up, and there was a lot of people that didn't realize you could just buy that you sell stock ICF plans. So like they were like, oh, these are like, so we had pictures of them and we had real sets of plans that they could look at. And we're like, we designed this to your block. So whatever block you're using, it was so funny how, I feel like we've pushed that out to people, but they didn't even know they were like still fighting with their draftsmen or their architects trying to draw things. Yeah. And you're like, no, we have like turnkey plans ready to go, set up with ICF. All you need is an engineer stamp and you're local and you're done. Yeah. And, so that was kind of cool. You sold several sets of plans at the show. So
and it was good to talk to the Canadian distributors, because they didn't realize that we could do plans in Canada as well. So we do have engineers in Canada, so we can do those plans for you.
Yeah. So that's another thing. So go check out the website. There's stock plans things you can
by
jump
IDD,
on there,
or just go to buildwithicf.com. They're all linked.
So went really well. Kind of jumping into the speakers. I think cool, like we had great speakers. First of all, they had one of their founders that came up and talked the first night. That was great to just hear real story about how how that company started, how much pain and work went into that, and just great story just to hear, like literally from the very beginning, of how this company started, to then be sitting in a huge state-of-the-art plant that now they're at now, and just even him being in awe of where the next generation has taken it from where he started with the company. So that was super cool. And then they had the main speaker came in and he spoke for 4 hours, I think he did.
It was a while. It was really like focused on business development and developing yourself as a business owner or a sales manager, a salesman. Just really good. And
yeah, it was well done. His name is Ryan Walter. He won a Stanley Cup in, what did he say, 1987?
I don't know. I
anyway,
have to look on
I think it was 87. It was somewhere around that time frame. But what a cool story. Like, I mean, to hear a guy that was an amazing professional athlete, played in the NHL for many, many years, and passed around his Stanley Cup ring. Everybody got to put it on. I got my picture taken with it. Yeah. But he translated, professional sports and a lot of what goes on in professional sports with business. And he did a great job. And lots of breakout sessions, like where he came out and, had you get up and go talk with other people and do different activities and different things that were really, really interesting, just talking about communication, different things. And I don't want to give away all of his cool stuff, because I really would suggest going and looking him up. Ryan Walter, he gave out a book there that I'm holding in my hand right now called Hungry, Fueling Your Best Game. And he talks so much about leadership and how that played into, the business side of things now. Is great job. He's, you can hire this guy to come out and talk. I highly suggest it. I do a lot of these things over the years. I've gone to a lot of them, and there's a lot of not good speakers out there that I've listened to. And Ryan Walter was awesome. That was really, really good. Excited to read the book, because everything he said in that 4 hours that we spent with him was really, really awesome.
It was, yeah. I took lots of notes, and I really enjoyed all the breakout sessions and the different things that we did. And I learned some things, which I think you can learn something new every day.
Always, yeah.
And so I really enjoyed being there and listening to him.
And then I'm going to give my big shout out
Yes.
to Beth, because I've been listening to Beth for a long time on her podcast. Smarter Building Materials podcast is basically a B2B kind of, very dedicated to the building materials industry podcast. And she's amazing. So it was really fun. And she's a very high energy speaker. She closed out the show. She got the hard spot in the
She
day.
did.
She had to come in after lunch when everyone's getting ready to leave, and she was able to pull it together just great and keep everybody engaged. And she talks a lot about marketing and different, statistics and things that are going into the building materials marketing, because it's different. It's not just the same as everybody else. Just like she said, they've had, so many different people come to them and say that it's just the same. No,
It's just a
you
different
can't just
widget?
be a marketer and then, not have specialized in the building materials side of it and distribution side of it. She understands distribution channels and all that. And it's her and Zach on the podcast. It was just Beth that was there at this event. She was nice enough to say that she's going to come on the podcast with us.
Yeah, she is.
So she's asked if we would come on their podcast, and she's coming on ours. So super excited. Some of the high points that she pointed out that I thought was really could be very useful to probably everybody that listens. I mean, DIY can even kind of learn from this. The importance of like Google reviews for your business now, and people are really doing more research on your company and wanting to see what people are saying about you is a real thing. Like that's really more important than even like SEO and, search engines and stuff like that everyone's so focused on. It's like almost more important to just put your time and your effort into your, Google advertising. She talked about, Reddit and different things, like different avenues. She's a millennial, so she's coming at it from the millennial side.
That's what she explained, all the different generations and how they look at, making a purchase when they're researching. And that was very interesting.
Yeah, like how they shop, who's going to pick up a phone and call somebody. And like, I can't remember how she said it, but then there's like some people, like if it was the millennials or whatever, like someone better be dying if you call me, text me, or, I don't want to hear from you. Like it was just funny to hear like the kind of the aspect that we have to think about as marketers, as selling a product, she showed us who's buying building materials, who's, for some reason, you continue to think that because we sell ICF or building materials that we're selling to the baby boomers, that's who we've grown up selling to. Well, the baby boomers are gone. They're in a nursing home. They're on their way out. Sorry,
Not
baby
all of
boomers.
them,
Sorry,
but...
no. I'm just trying to get people fired up on that one. But no, there's a lot of them. And like she said, to their compliment, a lot of them have the knowledge, like they know already. They've been in the business. How do we get our word out to these new buyers that don't know? And maybe they're, you're putting all your effort into Facebook, and these millennials aren't going to go on Facebook. You need to be where they're at, where is the attention at? So I think that was just a very knowledgeable thing for her to break down, the different aspects of the age groups and how they purchase. And I think we could all, learn from that. And even just like people that are out here right now, probably the best compliment I get about the podcast is that they are utilizing us to learn information about the insulated concrete form industry or business or products. I would say we're a non-traditional way to get information. I mean, it's not been very long that people were like, oh, I'll go listen to a podcast to learn about something. I was on a phone call today with a gentleman that said the same thing. Said he was looking at waterproofing. He ended up, talking to Hulk about it. And then Tyler at Hulk says, oh yeah, they even have a podcast. And we did a Hulk pod. So then he got on there. Once he saw there was an ICF podcast, now he's going through all the episodes, listening to them. So I think it's really, what the point of her story was, or what she was talking about is it's not as traditional way to get across to people anymore. There's a lot of new ways to get out to people. And so I think if you're trying to get information, think non-traditionally too. So look at what people are saying about things. Look at look up some of the different sites that aren't, the standard go to Google and Google it kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I liked, she went through with a lot of the dealers and talking about, how they're marketing, how they're branding themselves, what they're doing. And then just like she went over some key things that they needed to have on their website. Like when somebody goes to it, the first thing that they see, which because it was a dealer conference, that was extremely important when everyone's out there, trying to get people to come to their website and contact them. Once you get them to your website, then you really want to make sure you have all the information there for them. So that was super helpful, I think, for a lot of the dealers that were there. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, I got to go look at our website because I'm pretty sure all that's there. I think it's all there.
Makes you second guess like how you're like, is it on there? But yeah, it was great. And so shout out to Beth. She was killer. Like, again, her podcast is the Smarter Building Materials Marketing Podcast. I will put a link to that in the show notes as well. I'm going to link all these guys in the show notes just so you can go, check them out. But Beth is also the CEO of Venveo, which is Venveo. I always say an M in there for some reason. Yep. I think it's because I want to say Venmo.
I think that's what you want to say, but that's not it.
Because my kids make me Venmo them all the time, so I just stuck in my head. But Venveo and Venveo.com, they actually, you can hire them to come in and speak and help you with your business and your digital marketing and stuff like that. So definitely if you're
marketing, not just digital marketing.
Yeah. If you're looking at marketing stuff for your business owner listening to this podcast, she really understands ICF. Like it's pretty interesting how depth she's got in, and she understands how it works, and she understands why it's different and how to market it different, because it's not just everyday product. She was very, very clear that you can't just be somebody in marketing and then go, oh, I'm just going to market this product. You get so much more higher success rates if you're coming at this thing with a knowledge of the product that you're trying to market. So give her ton of respect for her knowledge on that and some of the things. Just even listen to her talk. She definitely knows what she's talking about, knows our competition, knows, who everybody is. So anyways, highly suggest that. Please go check it out. I'll put links in there to go check them out. She kind of closed up the show because that was kind of the end of the. That was, yeah. But going through this chronologically, that was kind of our last.
I know, thing. But then as we were cleaning up and getting out of there, a few people had to get going because they had to drive to get to the airport or whatever, and we hung out for a little bit and answered some more questions and talked to some folks and talked to the territory managers and stuff for Superform, and it was just a really, really great event that I really enjoyed. So
yeah. We'll continue to go back there as long as they'll let us.
As long as they invite us back.
But no, it was a great event. Shout out to Superform and all the guys. I just can't, great event, and really shows the culture of the company and why their dealers and their customers are so loyal to them and stuff, is just really that family culture and, sit down, have a meal kind of, way of doing things. And it's just in person, very old school and very successful way to do things. So kudos to you. Thought that was really cool. Great time. Great job. Yeah, I think
there's so much coming up. We're reaching out to the ICF Builder Award winners. So I think that, our homeowner testimonial, installer testimonials, I think those are very powerful to get out there. And so I think what better way than, to reach out to those folks and talk to them.
Especially some of these that have, they did some amazing award-winning projects. So really, really cool stuff. So that'll be great. I think that's going to be a bunch of really good. We've got a few different people lined up to come on the show here that we're trying to get scheduled in. So there will be some more product shows coming up.
Yeah. And then
we do have some listener questions still. So
we do. Yes. We do have a few listener questions that we're working on. I think I got a new one today that I've got to respond to, but we'll add that to the list as well. But yeah, we've got some listener questions, homeowner testimonials, installer testimonials. We'll probably get some dealers on here and have them kind of talking about different things that they do. Mm-hmm. Just lots of stuff to still go over and talk about.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're getting excited. We finally, we got all excited because all the snow started melting.
Yeah.
And then we got 3 days of snow and another foot dumped on us. And now we're back to 2 more days of snow. I think it's snowed every day now. So.
Yeah, since we got home.
We were all excited. We're like, here we go. Let's get rolling. So, but do have orders coming in. Things are going up down south, a little further south
Yep.
where there's no snow, down a little lower. We're getting things moving. So it's an exciting time of year for everybody. Everybody's getting rolling. Please let us know if you guys have any questions or anything that you guys want us to work on or get on the show, people, products, anything like that. Let me know. You can reach us at info@buildwithicf.com for our email. And then obviously on all the socials.
All the socials.
At Build with ICF
Yep.
on all the socials. So reach out to us. Any information or anything you're looking for, please let us know. You guys have done such a great job of reaching out to us and asking questions. We love it. I think that's about it until we get this next one rolling.
Yep.
We'll
stay tuned for more. Thank you for your patience and everything with us. And thanks for being a listener.